Hello and welcome. I'm Campbell, and today I wanted to talk about judgment and what is judgment, because we have all these concepts that we're given about judgment, and obviously we have things like Judgment Day and don't judge, and if you get caught you'll be judged. Interesting that you have to swear on the Bible, but then they have judges in there, and in the Bible it says do not judge. Just a side note there. So with judging, what we're taught, the main sort of narrative we're given about what judging actually means, it's always about us judging other people. It's the whole don't judge a book by its cover. And that is definitely good. You should not be, walking around judging people. The truth is, we all do, we all do. So it's something that we should work on. But, if someone's walking around and they're, jumping on flowers, then you're going to judge them. And in my opinion, you have to, because this is to do with filters and how far you let people into your consciousness, into your filters, which is for another video. But if we don't judge people, we don't know, how far to let them into our circle. If you just sort of let everyone sort of really close to you and told them everything, and without making any judgments, then you can put yourself in a lot of trouble. So is that what the message, from the Bible, and it's in other theosophy and religious books, but is that what they were talking about? Don't judge people? Because when you think about it, we do need to judge people, don't we? So what I think it means is, it's saying to me, when it says don't judge, it's saying don't judge circumstance and outcomes. So we live our lives and we do things. Obviously we act with actions. And a lot of the time, well, most of the time, we do these because we want a certain outcome. If we're hungry, we go and make food so that then we're not hungry. We want an outcome. But many people, they do things and they expect a certain outcome. They expect that outcome from other people. So they expect other people to act in a certain way. So what happens is they end up living their lives doing things to try and get a certain reaction, from the universe, from other people. And when you do this, you're kind of going against the law, because you're forcing, and we are not the creator, we're not God, the architect. We're a fractal of that, we're a part of that definitely is within us, but at the end of the day, we're not the decision maker. And so when we judge circumstances, what happens is, people do something, they want a certain outcome, and they don't get it, and they get angry, and they get annoyed, and they say that it's all the world's fault. They start pointing fingers, why always me, poor little me. And this is because they expect a certain outcome. They are judging what should happen. Now, there's a book from years ago called The Celestine Prophecy, and it's all about just looking and recognizing different markers and signs in your life and following them. And most of the time, they're not going to look like what you think they look like. So when you judge a situation, it means that you expect to see a certain thing, and that means you're going to miss everything else that's being put up there for you to look at. And this is why judging a situation is, it can be so detrimental and harmful to our life paths. Because one, if we expect something and we don't get it, it affects us emotionally. We feel bad, and we can get down into that why is it so hard, why is the world against me kind of stuff. But also it limits us the other way as well, because we don't see the markers, we don't see the signs and follow them, because we're expecting to see something. We're judging the situation as it should be a certain way, and when it's not, we don't see the markers. So I'm not sure how well I'm going with explaining this, but let me tell you a little story. So this is an old tale. As far as I know, it's Yiddish. So we're talking sort of Russia area, and basically there was a man and he had a son, and one day they were out walking, out in the bush and they found a stallion, a horse. And so together they eventually caught the horse and took it back to their farm. And their neighbour came by and said, "Wow, you are so lucky. You just got a horse." And the farmer said, "Well, who knows what's good luck and bad luck?" And his neighbour sort of looked at him and said, "But you just got a horse." And the farmer said, "Well, we'll see." The next day, they were breaking the horse in, and the farmer's son was on it, and he got thrown by the horse and broke his leg. And the next day, the neighbour came by and said, "Oh, what bad luck. Your son just broke his leg. That's really bad." And the farmer said, "Well, who knows what's good and what's bad?" And then a few days later, an invading army came through the town, and they took all the young men. And they didn't take the farmer's son because he had a broken leg and couldn't walk. And the neighbour came by and said, "What good luck you had, your son broke his leg and so they haven't taken him to the army." And the farmer said, "Who knows what's good luck and what's bad luck?" And of course this story goes on and on and on. But the point of it is, the farmer did not judge the situation, but his neighbour did. And his neighbour was always wrong. And so this is why, if we judge, think of it this way, we always run through these stories in our minds, and we have these movies that we make up, what's going to happen, if you're going on a holiday, you sort of make this movie up, oh, this. Now, how many times has that been correct? The movie that you make up in your mind, it might be that you've got a meeting at work, and so you run over it in your mind, and a lot of the time, unfortunately, we go over what might go wrong instead of what might go right, which we should be focusing on. But yeah, how many times are you right? And most of the time, if you're thinking it's going to go bad, it doesn't. And so you've just wasted all this energy and all this. You've lived in fear and restriction emotionally for nothing, because nothing happened, because you judged an outcome as being a certain way, but it wasn't. And so this is why judgment of circumstance is so, detrimental, because we're always wrong when we do it. That's why we shouldn't do it. If we expect things to be a certain way, then we get disappointed when they're not that way. But if we just, if you're going, whatever, to meet someone or to a party, and you're just non-judgmental, you're just like, I'm going to a party, obviously I'm going to have fun, you want to be positive, then when things do happen, the serendipitous moments and the good things, you do appreciate them more. You just do. And life becomes more of an adventure. And I guess it's got a lot to do with trusting yourself and trusting the process and trusting that there is something bigger than you, something smarter, something more intelligent than us, that is looking after us, that we're a part of. And so we can actually just trust in the process. We can just live our lives, go through it without judging, what's going to happen. We can live it like an adventure. And that is more fun. It's much more fun. And it's also, it leads us in the direction a lot more that we're supposed to go in. Because like I said, when we live and life is an adventure, and we start looking for the signs. But when we're judging reality as it has to be a certain way, well, unless that sign looks exactly like we want it to look, we miss it. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. Don't judge situations. Do judge people, because we need to look after ourselves and protect ourselves, and so we need to make these judgments. But as far as circumstance and what's happening in your life and what you expect with different situations, I would advise that you don't judge that you just fall into it, trust the universe, and treat life as a great adventure. Because as they say, life is either a great adventure or nothing at all. All right, guys, thank you for spending some time with me, and I'll catch you on the next upload. Bye for now.